We ready for this? Okay. Mr. City Manager, we're ready for our study session.
Mayor and members of the council, good evening and thank you very much. I'd like to introduce Director Murky to introduce our speakers about Linden Square and Atkins Johnson Farm programming for the season.
Good morning, Mayor and members of the council. Good to be here tonight, and we're excited to, I think, be back 100% this season. Last year we had a little bit of abbreviation here and there, but we're probably say 95% there with all of our programming. So tonight we have two individuals who will present to you. The first is Mary Newman, who's the newest member to our Parks, Recreation, Cultural Arts team. She comes to us from Alabama with a wealth of experience in the museum management world. So she'll take you through the Atkins Johnson Farm Museum programs, and then following that will be Shelley Hirsch, who I believe you all know is our Recreation Superintendent. We'll be talking in the absence of our vacant Linden Square programming position. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mary to start off, and we'll take you down the road to show you what we got planned. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Good evening.
To start you guys off, I want to talk a little bit about our 2021 season first. We were able to successfully follow all of the COVID guidelines while going back up to pre-COVID numbers. In 2021, we were only 129 people less than the record-breaking year in 2018. So pretty successful year overall. A few programs did have to be adapted, including the tea, which is traditionally held in the front yard, had to be a grab-and-go tea. But even with some difficulties, new programs were added, most notably our 4-H program, which is held in partnership with, of course, the 4-H of Kansas City. Erica, the longtime museum manager, left, and I started, like Justin said, coming all the way from Alabama. Our volunteer support remained steady throughout, and our tree removal grant was completed last year. So all in all, very successful year. And you can see here our attendance numbers. I do want to highlight a little bit last year's numbers in particular. You can see we started off a little bit slow at the start of the season, but we really did pick up and grew exponentially by the end of the year. In September and December in particular, two of our bigger events for the season. The Big Show Country Fair in September, you can see a big uptick, and the Holiday Nights and Photos and Cookies with Santa in December, another big uptick. I do also want to point out kind of two big jumps from the past. 2018, you can see a really big jump that year, due in large part to the actions of the city here. That is when the Pleasant Valley Road construction was complete, which is part of why you see such a big jump right there. As well as in 2021, you see we're returning to our pre-COVID numbers, but there is also another reason for that big jump. The Big Shoal Farm opened in 2020. Of course, you're not going to see any big number increase that year with all the COVID issues going on and with the farm being closed for part of the year. But we do believe that is a large part of the reason our numbers were able to recover so well. So thank you all for all you've done to help us make that venture successful. So here is our 2022 calendar of events. I won't stay too long on this page, but you can see kind of a general idea of what we're doing for the year. We'll kick off in just a couple short weeks with the picnic and encampment for the 1860s Civil War reenactors. And that's going to be on April the 16th. And we'll kind of continue there with several programmings up through our December 10th events, which will culminate with Photos and Cookies with Santa and Holiday Nights. So one of the bigger events we're going to have this year, kind of ongoing, is the Gladstone Farmers Market is moving out to the Atkins Johnson Farm this year. We're really, really excited to welcome them. They're going to be coming in this May and continuing through October from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. every weekend. So we are really, really excited to be working with them, as is our farm. They are just thrilled to have them out there and for all the exciting opportunities that's going to have. There we go. And like I said, our first event this year is the Civil War encampment. The 3rd Missouri Infantry Civil War reenactors are a huge help for this. They are the people actually out there who are reenacting for us, because of course it takes a village to put on something like this. Visitors will be able to engage with reenactors while they enlist, drill, cook outdoors, and kind of do an immersive learning experience for everyone who's out there that day. And this year, in honor of the Clay County Bicentennial, they will be focusing and reenacting specifically the Liberty Arsenal raid. So the 4-H partnership is something I did want to highlight a little bit as well, as this is kind of a newer program for us. It started in 2021 after efforts in 2020, of course, had to be postponed due to the pandemic. It was incredibly successful. 4-H has absolutely loved the site, and in addition to actually hosting the 4 classes with us, they also rented it privately 4 different times throughout the year after discovering how much they loved being out there, including most recently was just a couple weeks ago, actually. It was the 14th of March. They had 350 school children come out to the site and kind of hosted a fair on the lawn. So this year's class schedule we're going to be doing with them. The farmstead archaeology this June to kind of kick off the season, followed by photography and sketching class at the farm, biodiversity at the farm, and then followed up with floriculture and pressed flowers to kind of tie in the natural environment as well as the historical aspects that you see out at Atkins Johnson. This is all programming done for children, so it's kind of tying in with the youth of the community, really trying to bring them out and engage. So another of our partnerships I really wanted to highlight for you guys was the Friends of the Atkins Johnson Farm and Museum. They are some of our most dedicated supporters who work with us tirelessly throughout the year to give us volunteer support. They help with marketing, and they host 4 of the big events that take place every year. So the Gladstone Classic Concourse is the first of the season. It'll be hosted this June 12th, followed by their annual meeting. So this is kind of a smaller, more private event, but it's kind of a big place for them to all come together. On June 24th, then the big fundraiser for the year that they host is the Restoration Run. I'm sure some of you in the room are familiar with this one. It's a big fundraiser both for the Atkins Johnson Farm as well as for North Kansas City Schools, and that's going to be on the 20th of August this year. Followed by the Big Show Country Fair, which, like I said earlier, is one of the biggest times of the year people come out to see the museum, so it's always exciting for that, have that event. And ending the season with photos and cookies with Santa and Mrs. Claus. Another thing I wanted to highlight with our friends is that growth for them is really kind of coming in quickly. Last year, their membership actually tripled, so you can really see support for our friends is growing. Another, like I said, of the bigger things that the friends do for us and that is going on out at the farm in general is the actual Big Shoal Farm. So for those of you that haven't been out to experience it yourself yet, 3 different crops are grown each season. This is going to be the 3rd season coming up. It is sweet corn, which I've heard is absolutely amazing. I'm excited to try it myself. That's going to be harvested from July through August. Starting in August, we'll also be doing self-picked sunflowers, and pumpkins are available in September through around mid-October. And after success last year, I've been told that we're going to be redoing the specialty pumpkins. So if you're looking for pie pumpkins, big pumpkins, colored pumpkins, any of that stuff, we are the place to come, I've been told. The friends are very, very excited to have the farmers market out there joining us because there's lots of opportunities for growth for both there. Cannot think of another place where you can actually have a farmers market at an active farm. So we're pretty excited for that. So next I did want to go over our exhibits for the year. We're going to kick off pretty soon on April 6th with the Clay County Bicentennial exhibit. For those of you that don't know, the Bicentennial for the county was on January the 2nd of this year. So we're going to be celebrating Clay County and all of its history out at the farm through June 25th. This exhibit's going to be kind of a timeline of the history of Clay County with a lot of emphasis on the early years, and it's going to tell this both through the timeline itself as well as several original artifacts from the county's history. Next, we're going to focus in on the Progressive Era in July. So this is a traveling exhibit from the Gilder Lehrman Institute of American History. It's going to focus in on the early 1900s. The traveling exhibit is going to be very short-lived if you want to see it, so you've got to come see us in July. And we're going to kind of pair it with pieces that are from Clay County itself and the local area to really tie in the larger story with the local story. Next, this is what I'm actually really excited for. We are partnering with the Orange Easel School of Art and Liberty to create and produce an exhibit, Atkins Johnson Through the Eyes of Young Artists. These students from 4th through 12th grade are going to come out to the farm around June, going to tour everything we can show them from the farm, the fields, the heritage garden, everything, and create original artworks based on their experience at the farm, their impressions and what they see. And these pieces will be on display in the fall. So this is August the 3rd through October 22nd. So obviously I did not have pictures of this to show you guys yet, since these artworks do not exist yet, but if anyone's curious, those are some exhibits that are similar that have been done at other institutions. And then we'll end the season with Holiday Toys, which is the traditional kind of winter exhibit out at the farm. November 2nd through December the 10th, we will showcase holiday toys from years past. So these are some pictures from last year's. These are basically anything you would have opened up under the tree in the last 100, 150 or so years. Kind of takes you back through history in a really fun way. Kind of shows kids some of the things maybe their parents or grandparents might have been opening up a few years back. And that ends my presentation. So does anyone have any questions for me?
I do. Mary, thank you for that presentation. I wanted to ask you about the farmers market. In years past, it's really diminished in terms of the number of people who are there selling their goods. And I know that the farmers market is its own entity, but is there any push, any conversation with that group to see whether or not there will be more people out there, more farmers?
Yes, we have been talking with the farmers market on ways to increase vendors, how to entice more people. It's an ongoing conversation, so I can't say too much, but we are actively working on enticing more people out there, and we're hoping that a new location, new marketing, all of those kind of things will help as well.
Good. Yeah, I highly encourage that. As I know that there are a lot of farmers markets that you see that they have kind of met their demise, but there's also some, like the Overland Park Farmers Market, that's gigantic, and it's lots and lots of exhibitors and lots of farmers. So I hope that we can kind of take a step from that organization or that idea, and hopefully we can get some more people out there, because it's really needed, I think. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, good. Very happy to see the involvement of the 4-H. I have a comment, a question. Pardon me?
I was a 4-H'er.
You were?
I was.
Well, my gosh. You should be a guest speaker.
Did you raise a cow?
I did.
Back to the farmers market, totally agree with what Jeannie has said. Are you going to be adding then to the attendance count the individuals who come to the farmers market?
We would like to. There is some question of how we're going to, because of course it's a little harder to track who all's coming in and out of a market, but we do plan to try our best to at least get estimates included in our attendance. Because of course there are people that are coming out to the facility. We do plan to do our best to get them to at least come see the museum, enjoy the grounds and stuff as well. So we're going to do our best.
I think it's a good move to move the farmers market there, and I know we're very concerned about the operation of the museum at the farm, and we'd like to see it move forward with significant numbers of attendees. We've got a plan. We do. Now you got to follow through on your end.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
You guys can see that Mary is a much better museum manager than I am. Good job, Mary. I'm going to touch base with you pretty quickly on what we're doing at Linden Square this year. And I got to get my technology down. All right, so for the summer and fall 2020 Linden Square program, this is just a schedule at a glance for you all that just kind of tells you what some of the groups, the bands and stuff that are going to be coming to Linden Square are. I won't go through all of them, but just for my director's purposes, I'm going to remind him that we are going to have Bob Jovi on August 20th. They had that last year when I was on vacation, and I did not get to see him, so we are having him come back. So, but those are going to be some of the groups coming in. To kind of break some things out, we are going to do the 3 big festivals this year. We'll have Food, Art, Drink, Fiesta on the Square, and Whiskey Fest. Food, Art, Drink is going to be in June, and Fiesta on the Square is going to be in September, along with Whiskey Fest in October. And I'll kind of go into details of those in here in a minute. We are also bringing back the drive-in at Linden Square. We are going to do one movie this year. It is sponsored by the Dentistry for Children, and this year is going to be on June 25th, and it will be Spider-Man No Way Home. So that'll start around dusk. We'll do games before everybody comes. We'll have those out and ready to go, and the sponsors will be providing like cotton candy and things such as that. And then we'll kick off the movie and watch a movie out there. So we encourage everybody to come out and bring their lawn chairs and blankets. Food, art, drink. We're pretty excited about this. We are partnering with Artworks this year to help get artists and vendors in. That's going to be on June 3rd, Friday, June 3rd, and Saturday, June 4th. We'll do that over 2 days. And you can see who the groups are that are going to be there. And last year we had over 42 artists and vendors, so we're pretty excited this year that we'll hopefully get those same numbers, if not more. And we probably saw around 1,200 people over the 2 days last year. So we're banking on that again this year. Fiesta on the Square. We are going to partner again this year with the Northland Christmas Store. They're going to do the tacos and the food for that night. And then we will also have the KC Latin and Jazz Orchestra and the Three Amigos come. We'll have a similar setup as the previous years, where we'll have people there that are going to kind of show. I've not been to it, but I've been told that they show how to do a little salsa dancing a little bit down there. So we'll have that again. We're anticipating about 600 people for that program, and it should be a good time for everyone. Whiskey Fest, October 8th, mark your calendars. This is one of our biggest programs that we have at Linden Square. It's a very, very successful program. We are planning on bringing acts back with like woodchucks, axe throwing, and different things like that. We are working with local restaurants and distilleries to bring all the good drinks and beverages back. And Outlaw Jim will be there again. And this year we're also going to have Billy, Royce, and the Triple Trouble. Am I saying that right? So we're going to finish the year up with the Mayor's Christmas tree lighting on the 22nd. So you might want to mark that down, Mayor, for your calendar so you know that you have to be there on the 22nd of November. And we plan on, again, inviting some local school children to come and help with some singing and continue trying to do fundraising to help other areas in Gladstone area during that time of year. And that is all I have for you. It was a quick version. Do you guys have any questions for me?
No. Thanks, Shelley.
Okay.
It's an exciting time.
Great. Thank you.
Mr. Wingerson?
That concludes our presentations for the evening, sir.
Great. We'll take a 6-minute break and start at 7:30.
Why didn't she?
Cancel that. We have one more presentation for your leisure tonight, and that is Chief Ferris talking about Tri-County Mental Health.
I'm going to keep it pretty brief. I do want to make one introduction. Mayor and Council, I'm pretty excited tonight to be able to bring something to you for your consideration. About a month ago, I had the opportunity to meet with Peggy Gornflow. She's the Community Behavioral Health Liaison Manager for Tri-County Mental Health. And that was more just an introduction, and I threw out the question to her about their stance on co-responders, if that was something that Tri-County dealt with, because it's becoming a very popular program within the law enforcement community. And she got her ears kind of perked up when we talked about that. She did tell me they have these community behavioral health liaisons, and that got us in discussions about potentially offering some office space in the PD throughout the week, probably one day a week to start off, and I'm going to keep twisting her arm to get more. But they have a community behavioral health liaison program, and in doing some research, and I was kind of directed by Assistant City Manager Bear, that in 2016 the city prepared a study, Gladstone Shaping Our Future summary, and in looking through that, he pointed out that one of the goals specifically addressed, quote, strengthening mental health care support for residents in Gladstone by addressing the mental health care deficiency that exists. The strategy listed partnering with established effective healthcare coalitions that are already working to better serve the Northland. It documented the importance of working towards a better end using a team approach. I believe that partnering with Tri-County Mental Health gets us a really good jump-off point there. Within that report, there was also a graph that outlined the action steps or the goals, and then some of the resource options. And the very first one listed partnering with Tri-County Mental Health in their current research initiative, and I believe that entering into an agreement with them to partner is a huge advantage for us. It's something that they would provide. All we're really giving up is a little bit of office space. That mental health worker would co-locate in the PD and handle cases that would be referred to them by us or by our municipal court, and also be available to actually respond during those times with our officers directly to the scene of calls. We're finding partnerships like this all around the country, and it's a great opportunity for us to take that step and actually being proactive in how we handle some of these mental health and very likely some of our homeless calls that we're dealing with, because they really go hand in hand. I would like to take the opportunity to introduce Peggy to the group, and I think she brought some party favorites to hand out to you guys for your research. You want to say a few words? Or?
So again, I'm Peggy Gorenflo from Tri-County Mental Health, and the CBHL program has been in effect since 2013. It was actually an initiative that Governor Nixon's office put into play because they realized that law enforcement was dealing so frequently with individuals in a mental health crisis. They wanted to get some support. So it started with about 31 of us throughout the entire state, and then I'm super excited to report that about 6 months ago, the governor signed for 50 more in our state. So there's actually 81 of us. And Tri-County's taken it a step further, and they have hired the individual who would be helping out here in addition to those others. So I now have a team of 5 at Tri-County for all 3 of our counties, so about 33 different law enforcement agencies, and then all of the courts, the treatment courts, the probate courts, etc. So we follow up on individuals who have some mental health needs. We try to get them into services. Our number one goal, of course, is to help people, with a very close second goal being to reduce the law enforcement contact with individuals who have that increased contact and repetitive contact. So, any questions for me? Or
one quick one. Are you currently in any police facilities now in those 3 counties?
We are, yeah. So right now, Clay County Sheriff's Office has a full-time embedded clinician. That's a position that they pay for the majority of that. So one of my staff is full-time at Clay County Sheriff's Office, and that's going really well. And then one of our other community behavioral health liaisons she spends 1 day a week at Excelsior Springs PD, and then another day a week at Ray County Sheriff's Office. So yeah, we're trying to get in there. I wish we had a clinician for every single police department. Unfortunately, there's a lot of departments. So the individual who we're looking to possibly have come here would also be working with a few other departments within Clay County. And so, yeah, we're really excited about the possibility of being able to help Gladstone PD out.
Thank you.
I just want to say I applaud this effort. I just think it's really a great addition, and I think this will go a long way to helping solve some of those problems. So good luck to everybody involved. Exciting.
I see on this sheet that there's post-trainings offered to law enforcement. So does the individual that would be assigned to Gladstone, do they do that post-training?
So he could with my assistance, absolutely, yes.
And Chief, will that be something that we'll be looking into?
Yeah, so one of the things that I was really happy to find was that the majority of our staff has already been through CIT training, which is a huge step. The nice thing is we'll have an in-house person that we've built relationships with, having a go-to person we can pick up the phone, help develop some in-house training, whether it's things that we do in person or we can push out to the group and dispatch as well. So I think that's one of the real big advantages that we start building those relationships. They have resources that we quite honestly don't, and the ability to get people in, pull whatever strings and magic they do to get people in the cruising quicker than we can, frees our officers up, and that all goes hand in hand with the training that we want them to bring to us as well.
Absolutely, and having a Tri-County staff person is so valuable because they can look up in the emergency medical record, they can get that information, and with Gladstone being so intertwined with other municipalities, we have a lot of folks who are maybe chronic to Gladstone, who Kansas City deals with and Liberty deals with, and so this way we have a member of our team that's going to be able to provide that support.
Thank you, Peggy. Chief, thank you. And let's go ahead, and if it's okay with our city council members, we'll move right into our meeting this evening. Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Monday, March 28th, 2022 regular meeting of the Gladstone City Council. Call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, please note that all of our City Council members are present. We do have a quorum. And at this time, I'd like to ask everybody if you would please stand, and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Your Honor, the colors are present.
Post the colors.
Present. Affirm. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. We'd like to recognize VFW Post 10906, their color guard Joe Lyles, Stan Stoner, Gordon Harris, Dennis Perkins for the posting of the colors. Item 4 on this evening's agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there anyone on our City Council who wishes to make a change to tonight's agenda? Seeing none, the agenda will stand as it's presented. We move on then to the approval of the minutes from the March 14th, 2022 closed City Council meeting. Mayor Pro Tem.
Excuse me. I move to approve the March 14th, 2022 closed City Council meeting minutes.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the March 14th, 2022 closed City Council meeting minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The minutes are hereby approved. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the March 14th, 2022 regular City Council meeting.
Mayor Mellons.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I move to approve the March 14th, 2022 regular City Council meeting minutes.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the March 14th, 2022 regular City Council meeting minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. The minutes are hereby approved. This evening we have two proclamations, and we're going to start first with the proclamation for the National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. And let's see, I'll ask Rob if you would please come forward if you'd like to bring your staff members with you.
Rob, it's a pleasure meeting you. Yes, sir. Rob Sanderson, who's our manager for administrative services. You want to introduce your two colleagues here?
Sure. One of our senior dispatchers, John Hilton, and one of our newer dispatchers, Heather Williams.
Welcome. Good to see you folks. You do a very important job. The proclamation. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services. And whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. Whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and the accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Gladstone Emergency Communications Center. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our certain citizens have with the emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them with information, and ensuring their safety. Whereas the public safety telecommunicators of the city of Gladstone have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year, therefore be it resolved that the City Council of Gladstone, Missouri declares the week of April 10th through the 16th, 2022 to be National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. And we present to you and your staff the proclamation from the mayor and our city council. Thank you. You guys have done a wonderful job. It's a tough job. Rob, would you like to make any comments to the audience?
No, I've spent almost 20 years talking into one side of the radio and having people look out for me, so it's really a privilege to be able to join a team of professionals that have already made their mark on this department, the city, and really see firsthand the impact that the dispatcher can make on a call for service or just everyday notification to the citizen.
Either one of you would like to share a few words?
Chicken.
Well, welcome to a great city. Thank you for what you do. Thank you. Director Murphy? The other proclamation is for Arbor Day, which is going to be coming up, and there'll be a celebration this Friday, I believe, at 10 o'clock at Hobby Hill Park. It will involve the third graders from Lindenwood West. The city will be planting a tree adjacent to a bench that's there. And the proclamation then is in conjunction with Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton first proposed that a special commemoratory day be officially established for the planting of trees. And in 1970, the United States Congress set aside a special day to acknowledge mankind's responsibility to the natural environment. And whereas these holidays, now designated as Arbor Day and Earth Day, are observed nationally on an annual basis during the month of April. And whereas trees and natural environmental services to assist in the modernization of temperature help provide the clean air that we breathe, produce oxygen and habitat for wildlife, and provide a source of joy, beauty, and spiritual renewal for the community. Whereas the trees are proper care for Gladstone's environment, serve to increase property values, enhance the vitality of business areas, and serve to beautify our surroundings. Now I therefore, Artie Malice, Mayor of the City of Gladstone, on behalf of the members of our City Council, encourage our citizens to support efforts that focus upon environmental betterment and the planting of trees, and proclaim Friday, April 1st, 2022 as Arbor Day. in Gladstone, Missouri. Congratulations. And we look forward to Friday with the kids, planting a tree. Do you have any comments?
I think my only comment is going to be for Councilmember Moore. We ordered good weather for you.
I was going to say, who's responsible for the weather?
We hope to have a nice, not so chilly day, as I think Councilmember Moore enjoyed. I think it was 2013 or. It was a cold
bad
one,
one,
so
yeah.
hopefully we have a little better one this time. But
We also had inside ones too.
Yeah.
It was raining, yes. We don't want any of
So
that.
we'll see what Friday brings, but we look forward to it. And you never know what the third grade kids are going to say or do.
It's April Fool's
All
Day.
suspense for all.
Yes.
We're looking forward to it.
Thank you, Justin.
All right. Communications from our audience. Members of the public are invited to speak about any topic that's not listed on tonight's agenda. When speaking, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Okay, we move on to communications from our city council, and I'll go with Councilmember Moore.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to remind everyone, next Tuesday, April 5th, is an important day, our municipal election, a city council seat, school board seats, and 2 important issues for the North Kansas City School District. So I encourage everyone, as we have already done from the dais in the past, is to encourage everyone to get educated on the ballot issues and please vote.
Thank you. Councilmember Spallow.
Well, I do believe we have some exciting celebrating to do because one of our young men that grew up in Gladstone's basketball program is going to be playing for the national title this weekend. That's Mr. Ochai Agbaji. And, you know, I know that that's sort of not really city council related, but what it is related to is the fact that Gladstone probably has the best Parks and Recreation Department in this city, and has had that for a very long time, and has offered programming to young people that has enriched their lives in many ways. Now, Ochai, for instance, he's playing basketball. He'll probably become an NBA star. But first of all, he's getting an education because of his skills that he developed at Gladstone Parks and Recreation. So, congratulations to our Parks Department for all of the opportunities that you provide children and families in this city. Thank you.
That's good, Tina.
Great.
Good job. Councilman Frisbee.
No comments after that, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to mention, since our last meeting, I had the privilege of attending the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board meeting on the 15th, where we got a preview of what we saw tonight on the museum and Linden Square programming for the summer. Tammy McFerrin was elected to continue to serve as chair of the advisory board. And then last week, I was able to sit through another thrilling meeting of the Board of Zoning Adjustment and re-elected the chairman, Bob Sedich, to serve another year in that position. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a new member to our city staff, and I'd like to introduce our new city clerk, Chris. Welcome. And it was a tough process. And we went through an extensive process of vetting, and you were the best candidate. We're very happy to have you here with us.
Thank you.
And then to reiterate what Councilmember Moore said, vote, vote, vote this coming Tuesday. And let's see, let's go to our communications from our city manager.
Mayor, just 2 things. First off, to apologize to Chief Ferris and our friends at Tri-County Mental Health for completely blowing them off. So I don't know what happened there, a short circuit, I suppose. So I'll try not to do that again, but please accept my apologies, Chief. And then a second, not so funny thing, is Hobby Hill Park experienced some significant vandalism over the weekend that has resulted in both restrooms having to be closed until further notice. So we'll get that repaired just as quickly as possible, but wanted to brief you on that. that and sort of say it publicly, so that members of the public that may be using Hobby Hill Park understand what happened. So we'll put a sign on the door that says something like closed due to vandalism or something like that, to let the users of that park know that the reason that they're closed is because someone in the community chose to destroy public property. So we'll continue to work on that and get it repaired as quickly as possible, but wanted to sort of say that to you out loud. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. If we look at the next item on the agenda, it is the consent agenda, and we'd like to ask our Madam Clerk, will you please explain and read the consent agenda?
The consent agenda allows the City Council to consider and approve routine items of business without discussion. Any member of the City Council, the City staff, or the public may request removal of any item from the consent agenda and request that it be considered under the regular agenda if discussion or debate of the item is desired. Items not removed from the consent agenda will stand approved upon motion by any council member. Second, unanimous vote to approve the consent agenda as published or modified. Consent agenda. Consider special event permits. Flashlight Easter egg hunt at Happy Rock Park Sports Complex on Friday, April 8th, 2022 from 5 to 9 p.m. Rain date Saturday, April 9, 2022. Civil War muster at the Atkins Johnson Farm on Saturday, April 16th, 2022 from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Electronics recycling event at Public Works on Saturday, April 23rd, 2022 from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Walk and Wag at the Atkins Johnson Farm on Saturday, April 30 from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Oak Hill Day School picnic at Linden Square on Monday, May 16, 2022 from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. Sounds on the Square at Linden Square from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. various dates. Food, art, drink event at Linden Square on Friday, June 3rd and Saturday, June 4th, 2022 from 5 to 10 p.m. Blues Fest at Oak Grove Park on Friday, June 17, 2022 from 5 to 11 p.m. and Saturday, June 18 from 3 to 11 p.m. North Kansas City School District's Northland Education Preschool Graduation at Linden Square on Tuesday, June 21, 2022 from 6 to 7:45 p.m. Drive-in at the Square at Linden Square on Saturday, June 25th, 2022 from 7 to 11 p.m. Consider financial report for month ending February 28, 2022.
Thank you. Does any member of the audience request the removal of any of the items from the consent agenda for discussion? City Council?
No, sir.
Mr. City Manager?
No, sir.
May I receive a motion?
Mayor Mellons,
Councilmember Moore?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as it was listed. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as it was listed, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The consent agenda is approved. The next item on the agenda is a resolution R-22-12, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a memorandum of understanding with Tri-County Mental Health Services, Incorporated, to work collaboratively with the city's police department to meet the behavioral needs of those requiring assistance.
Mayor Mellons.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I move to adopt Resolution R-22-12.
Wonderful.
Second?
Second. Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution R-22-12. Is there any discussion?
Mayor,
Go ahead.
I just make a comment. This is just terrific, what we've got. Well, I think over the years, especially over the last couple of years, we've become more aware of the limitations of law enforcement to respond to all situations and then be able to follow up even when they know that follow-up would be of great benefit to them, in the long term. So, we have struggled with, trying to find that line with providing the mental health assistance, some social work assistance to support what we try to do with public safety in town. And this is a tremendous step in that direction. So I appreciate the cooperative working environment here. I think it'll be of great benefit to all of us. So thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I'd just like to say thank you to the city staff just for continuing to look at the goals that were presented through Shaping Our Future and to continue in enacting those and making sure that we're following that plan. This was a huge initiative for the Health and Welfare group, and I am sure that those folks that sat on that group will be very happy to hear this. Thank you.
Any further comments? Okay. Let's see. All those in favor of approving Resolution R-22-12 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The resolution R-22-12 is enacted. Is there any other business this evening that we would like to have presented at the City Council meeting? And we will stand adjourned.